Hello everyone, I'm so excited for this video today. Now, for people following me for a while on my connection, there's two things I like talking about basically on my handle, which are data and low code. So, in this video, I've got a wonderful collaboration together. Now, I'll be talking about Microsoft Fabric and Power Platform, but I'll be showing an interesting collaboration demo between the two of them. Now, a couple of weeks back, Microsoft announced a major game changer in the Fabric space, which is known as Microsoft Fabric database in the Fabric space. So this caused a lot of game changer on how we could use Fabric as a Fabric database, and it brought about a lot of interesting ideas and collaboration, which made me spot me up to create this simple video. So in this video, what I'll be showing us on how to is how can we connect our Fabric database with Microsoft Power Automate. But I don't just want to show us how we can connect it. I have an interesting use case scenario or example for us. Now, the use case scenario, this is a simple forms. This was created with Microsoft Forms. You can do it with whatever form tool you have. So it's just for this demo using Power Automate and Fabric combo. So in this form, I have some few fields like first name, my last name, email address, supporting category, and supporting request. Now, the idea behind this is I wanted to create a system in which somebody could send a support request. I can, and it will be stored in a database. So essentially, this data is coming from these forms. And what I thought to do is why somebody once somebody fill this form, the data get loaded directly into my database with by you combining two interesting tools with Power Automate and Microsoft Fabric. Now it's important to note, yeah, you can do this with other way rounds as well, but it's also good to see how those two are in action. And the beauty of using Power Automate is Power Automate also has some other pre-built actions which can allow you to leverage more stuff once you've brought in your data. So, how do we go about doing this? Now, what are the key things which you will need to have? Now, the key thing which you need to have is a Fabric database. How you can have that is I have mine set up already, a simple Fabric database. But how you can have that is you can go to your Fabric environment. So, this is a workspace that contains a Microsoft Fabric license. And if you don't have a Fabric license, I have a Power BI Pro account or so. In your Power BI account, you can just click on your name and you could sign up for the trial, for the Fabric trial. And there's also a link. You can also Google on Google. You can also click on Start Free Trial. So this can get you the Microsoft Fabric license for those who may not have that. Now, why you once you have that license set up, you have to create a workspace which has Fabric capability enabled in it. Though I wouldn't be showing that in this video, but I could be drop links which could help you out in doing this as well. Now, once you've done that, you can add things called items in Microsoft Fabric. Now, items include your database, your semantic models, your lakehouse, and a lot of your reports as well. So these are just like a collection of things which you have in your workspace. That's what an item is. So to create a Fabric database is very, very simple. Just click on create new item. Then under new item, you can scroll down to Fabric database. Hope I haven't passed it. Yeah, so this is SQL database. So you can select the SQL database. Now, the moment you do that, all you just need to do is give it a name, and in the moment you have given the database a name, you will get this interface on my screen. So that's how to quickly set up a database. Uh, though that's not really the point of this video, but just wanted to show that for those who may not be aware. So now this is my Fabric database. Now I have a simple table created in my database. You can go ahead to create your own table. I used a simple script to create it. So create table, specify the columns and their data type, and I created this table. You can create your table anyhow you want. It's called supporting requests. Now once I have this table, right, now how can I go ahead to build the flow? Now it's important to know I've already built out the flow already, but I'll be taking you to from scratch how you can go ahead to build the flow. Now it's a simple three-step action which you need to take for this my particular demo. You can add more actions, you can add more customization depending on your need, but I'll show us how we can go ahead to use a Fabric flow in our Power Automate. So under my flows, right now I'm just going to go while I'm on Power Automate. So while I'm on Power Automate, I can click on New Flow to create a new flow, and I can scroll down to Automated Cloud Flow. Now, if you're not aware of how to work with Power Automate, I've created an interesting video before called Power Automate 101. You can see that video on the Citizen Developer HQ channel. You can check that out. It takes you through some of the basics on Power Power Automate as well. So right now I can give my flow a name. I can call it maybe DB test, DB underscore test. Now the moment I click on DB underscore test, I can set the action. Now for this flow, the trigger rather, for this flow, I want it to be triggered when somebody submits a form. I can click on when a new response is submitted, and I can click on create. Now, the moment I do that, I get navigated to this flow interface. This flow interface. Now, every flow has a trigger, which is what we did when a new response is submitted. I can select the this drop down to select the form I'm interested in, and I'll just go down to Power Automate and Fabric Demo combo. So this is the form I'm interested in, and now what do I want to happen when a new response is submitted? Now with Power Automate Flow, you always have an action. So I'll click on the plus icon, and I will add an action. So when a new form is submitted, I can click on um, get response details. So I want to get the details of what was submitted from the form. So I can select this get response details. So this is just getting me the details from what was submitted from the form. I have to highlight the form which was submitted, this form. And for this response ID, this is where I use something called a dynamic content. This is like an output of a previous trigger or action step. That's how I'll define it. So under this unique identifier, I can click on this lightning button and select this response ID. Now, so this aspect is very, very much Power Automate fundamentals, nothing really technical about this. Now, for me to now add the SQL, the Fabric database into this, I can click on this plus, and I can click on add an action. Now, for this action, I'm going to search for SQL Server. So under SQL Server, so I can do different things depending on what I want to do. If I want to delete a row, I can reference this. If I want to execute a SQL query, I can do this. If I want to get rows, I can do this. If I want to get rows, I can do that. If I even want to transform data using Power Query, interesting, but I can do this. Now I can click on insert row. Now it's important to know this is a premium a premium action. Now it requires a premium license to carry out this process. If you are using a developer account, you probably have this. If your organization have a Power Automate premium license, you probably have this as well. So you can read more. You can check Power Automate licensing as well. I'll try to drop a link in the video to so that you can know if you are eligible to do this. Now for this, I want to do insert a row. I can click on this. Now, so under this insert row, now for you people who would just probably be starting to do this. Now, if you can see, I have this, you have a broken connection, blah, blah, blah. I have to fix this connection. Now, what I can do is I can change connection. I already have a working connection, but I want to show us how we can get this connection from scratch. I can click on add new, and this is where, please, as much as possible, pay attention to it because this is like the technical bit of it on how you can connect your Fabric database to this. So under this, instead of client authentication, I'll switch this to Microsoft Entra ID. Microsoft Entra ID. Now, after I do this, I can give this connection a name, demo. Let me just call it demo, and I can sign in. Now, this will require you to sign into the account that has the Fabric database. Now, the moment I sign in, that will fix this. I can get rid of this issue. Now, what I need to do is I need to select a server. Now, for this server, I can click on enter a custom value. And how will I get this value for this server? I can go to my Fabric database. On this, my Fabric database, click on settings and click on connection string. Under this, my connection string, I can see this data source. So I can just highlight to this point. I can copy this, Control C, come to this, my flow, paste it here. Then database name, I can click on this, enter custom value. So from this, my database, I can highlight this section before the semicolon, Control C, copy, then come here, enter this, and paste it here. So the moment I'm done with that, I now would click on this name of table. So if you see now, I can see all the tables I have in my my database. So I can decide to select this support request. For example, this support request, the moment I've selected it, all I just need to do is add the dynamic content for the previous step which I want. So I can add the dynamic content for the first name, come here, the dynamic content is gotten from the forms, add the dynamic content from the last name, email address, support category, and support support request. So the moment you've done this, congratulations, you built a simple automated process that gets your data from Microsoft Forms directly and loads it directly to your database. Now, it's important to note you can add further actions to this. If you want to build out a more robust story, you can decide to, you know what, I want to notify probably a person to check the database to see the data that is there. I can do a send an email to a particular user to check the database, or I can send an email informing the person that your data has been saved, so your information has been saved. But or I can add a post in Teams to inform people that there's a new support request there about. So, but that's just like a demo on how you can build this simply with Power Automate. Now, I already have a process built already, so I'll just run it. I'll just run it. There's no need to build to run the same process again. So I have this process already. So let me show it in action. So right now I'm going to fill out this form. I'll just give it a name, and I'll just call this maybe PBI, maybe Excel, and support request. I'll call this testing DB, and I'll just click on submit. So the moment this submits this, I can just check my flow just to be sure it has submitted. So the moment I verify it has submitted the information, I could also just check my database to see if that new data has been pulled in as well. So I could even do a refresh on the database to see if this new data has been pulled in to my database. So I can just come to database, come to this table, and if you see this new data has been added to the database, so Excel testing DB has been added to the database. So, like I said, that's just a simple use case scenario and connection with Power Automate and Microsoft Fabric. I'll be trying out a lot of combination with Power Automate and Microsoft Fabric in other videos. A beautiful idea which I have for which maybe for another video is loading your Fabric data into a Copilot Studio agent. So creating a bot based on your Fabric database. And I also have another interesting video using event streams and lakeout. So please stay tuned. Don't forget to leave leave a comment as well, and tell me how you would use this interesting collaboration with Fabric database and the Power Platform. See you in other videos.